Hi, this is Joey with Lightrun, and in this video, we are going to discuss the Lightrun Management Server. The Lightrun Management Server is one of the key pieces to the Lightrun solution. It sits between the IDE plugin and the Lightrun agent, handling communication and directing traffic between the two. The Lightrun Management Server also contains several important settings that you may need to use when setting up Lightrun. There are a few different ways the Lightrun server can be deployed. We offer it as a multi-tenant SaaS, a single-tenant SaaS, or we can give it to you to host in your own infrastructure, either on-premise or in a virtual private cloud. Where the server is hosted will determine the URL you use to access it, but for the purpose of this video, we will use our multi-tenant SaaS, which is located at app.lightrun.com. When you initially visit the site, it will ask you to either sign up or log in. Let's assume you already have an account, so we'll click Login. You can either sign in with your username and password, or if your organization is using Google or SSO, you can sign in with that as well. So I'll sign in with Google. Now, if you haven't fully completed the installation process, you will likely be taken to the setup wizard. In order to get to the Lightrun server, you will have to complete the process of installing the Lightrun plugin and installing the Lightrun agent. Once you have installed at least one plugin and one agent, you will be able to access the Lightrun server. If you would like to add additional plugins and agents, you can go back to this wizard and view the instructions again. Assuming you have already gotten through the wizard once, you should see a few items on the sidebar, which we will now explore. The first item is the Data Explorer, where you will be able to see some recent logs and snapshots. If you don't see any data here, it's not necessarily a cause for alarm. By default, the logs will only persist here for 5 minutes, and the snapshots will only persist for a day. While this is configurable, and we will discuss that setting later in the video, please keep in mind that Lightrun is not meant to be used as a long-term log storage solution. So if you want to keep those logs for a longer period of time, we suggest shipping them off to another logging solution using one of our numerous integrations. The next section you'll see in the sidebar is the Entities dropdown. If you click the Agents tab, you'll be able to see any agents that are currently connected to the Lightrun server. This can be a quick way to ensure that the agents are communicating properly to the server. Next, you'll see the Custom Sources tab. This will be covered in depth in another video. Under that, you'll see the Tags tab. Tagging will also be covered in depth in another video, but it's here where you can see any tags that have been registered with the Lightrun server. If you have old tags that you aren't using anymore, maybe you had a tag for a version that's no longer being used in production, this is one of the places where you can delete them. It's good practice to clean up your tags every so often. Don't worry about deleting a tag accidentally that's still being used, because if an agent comes back up that's still using that tag, it will be added back to the list. So for example, I can just delete node. Next, you'll see the Actions tab. This will give you a list of any Lightrun actions that have been added to your code, as well as who added them. Finally, we have the Integrations tab. This is where you can configure the integrations to third-party APMs and logging tools. These will also be covered in depth in separate videos. Next, we'll discuss some of the settings that are available on the Lightrun server. And we can access those by going up here to Settings. Please note that your portal may not look exactly like mine, depending on what features you have enabled. Currently, features such as role-based access control and PII redaction are only available in our Enterprise package. Also, if you're not set up as an administrator, certain settings here may not be available to you. I will show you what these settings look like from an admin point of view, with all of the Enterprise features enabled. But if you're not seeing something you expect, feel free to reach out to us and we can determine why that might be. So the first thing you'll see in the Settings menu is the Users tab. If you're an administrator, this is where you can add new users to your organization manually by clicking Create a User, or you can invite users to add themselves to your organization. It'll send an invitation email to them. The next two sections, agent pools and permissions and access, are related to role-based access control, and these will be covered in another video. Next, we move to the security section. And it's here, if we have the enterprise package, that we can set up the PII redaction rules. While we will discuss this in greater detail in a separate video, the gist of it is that we can redact any sensitive data which has a certain pattern in either its name or value. So for example, things like credit card numbers or usernames. We're able to redact those so the developers can't see them. In the block list section, we can identify entire classes that we want to prohibit adding any Lightrun actions in. We suggest that this is used sparingly, because if you block out too many classes, Lightrun loses its usefulness. But there are certainly times where it's necessary. If you're currently working through your sensitive data redaction strategy, we suggest you reach out to the Lightrun Solutions engineering team so we can assist you with best practices. Next up, we have the audit events section. Here, this keeps a record of every action that was taken with Lightrun and stores it on the server. You can filter these actions based on dates and view them right here on the server. Or you can click the export as CSV button and save it as a CSV file if you'd rather open that in another application. Next up, there are some miscellaneous settings. Most of them are pretty self-explanatory, and honestly, most of them shouldn't have to be changed. But this is where you can change things like how long the logs, snapshots, and metrics will all stay on the server. This right here is also where you can force all of the agents to detach. This basically acts as a kill switch for Lightrun, so be very careful with that one. Finally on our list is the Lightrun logs collector. If you're ever experiencing difficulties with Lightrun, one of the first things we're going to ask you to do is to send us your agent and plugin logs. Rather than having to pull those individually from each of your agents and plugins, we made it easy to get them all from right here on the server. Simply click the Collect Logs button and wait for those logs to be transferred over to the server. You can click the refresh button to kind of see the progress that's being made. When you see no more that are pending, you can then click the download button and it will save it as a zip file. Keep in mind that for this to work, the agents will have to actually connect to the server. So if you're trying to debug a connectivity issue with one of the agents that may not be connecting to the server, you may still have to get the logs directly from the agents. To get back to the main setting area from this section, simply click the Back to Platform button on the top right-hand corner of the screen. And that just about does it for this video. If you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to us using the chat in our portal or by contacting us directly at support@lightrun.com. Thank you.